ठीक है. Okay, let's continue our system designs talk. I'm going to talk on the application security. So application security, again, one level of system designs uh, security concept. We had whatever the systems or application we build, we deployed under our application server. Maybe clusters of application server we have, and here these applications are accessed by our users, our client, our customer, or maybe this application accessed by another browsers, web applications, or another application. Generally, they are through internet. So internet, our applications are accessible via internet. So last session we discussed about the internet or network security. Now we talk about the application security. So what kind of problem threats we have if we are not considering or thinking application security. So generally all the application security, whatever the request come from the internet to for my applications, whatever response go from my application on the internet through via internet through the customers, in both scenario we have to apply some application security. So generally these are the commonly application security, you can say breach, maybe some hacker or unauthorized user or entity maybe try to broken your authentication. Generally, whatever our applications have, users are know some authentication authorization process, and if someone hacker, let's key this is my mobile, I'm accessing my application, so I am typing my username and password, someone can can access this authentication token, maybe API key, maybe JSONW token, or any kind of tokens or authentication parameters. So somehow on the behalf of you, this hacker is going to talk to the application. So these kind of maybe SQL injection kind of problems, maybe cross-site scripting, maybe cross-site request of forgery, maybe some file system accessing problem, might be sometime broken your access control. So list of, you can say, application level of security threats we have to plan properly. So if while system designing we have to consider whatever the applications we are delivering to the customers, they meet the application security criteria. So this reform is the we have to apply the application security practices, processes, and technology to protect our software application from unauthorized access, uses, disclose, disruptions, modification, and destruction. So objective is that whatever the applications we have, who is going to access, if this application is accessible by, used by, modified by the authorized person, it's okay. But unauthorized entity or user or hacker, someone cannot access my application. Objective is simple. How we are going to ensure this with the help of apply some practices, some processes, and some inbuilt technology which we have. So these are the if we are the objective of this application security is that we have to ensure that whatever the sensitive information, the data we have, we are going to protect them from unauthorized entity, users, hacker. Okay, and this also ensure that if we are designs, we are consider our application level of security, that means we prevent our applications, someone cannot disrupt, someone cannot crash, someone cannot frozen, someone cannot hack. Even we have ensure that our application in anyhow for available for the authorized user, but might be not available, might be not able to access the unauthorized entity. So for all the authorized user, our applications, our system must be available and functions as well as, okay, without the concerns of the security threats. And we have to ensure that whatever the domains, our applications we are building, we are going to comply the regulations, regulatories and guidelines of the particular industries. So all this regulation, security, guidelines of particular domain industries, we have to apply at the application level of security as well as. So generally, whenever we talk the level of security, generally application can be, nowadays we talk the maybe web applications, maybe talk the mobile application, maybe talk the desktop application, maybe talk the cloud application. So each and every level of applications we have to consider the security. Web application, how to ensure the web application security, mobile application security, desktop application security, and cloud application security as well as. So each level, whatever kind of application you are building, we have to ensure that we have to implement the standard practices of the application level of security. So generally, whenever we talk application level of security, so generally our applications receive some input, some user request. So what are the input requests come? Input requests can come some level of data, some level of request parameters, value. Okay, so we as a application level of security, we are ensuring that whatever the user inputs we receive, that must be valid and does not contain any kind of malicious data. That means whatever the data users pass in the form of request, our systems must ensure that these are the valid as per our service need, and no any kind of code or any kind of data that may our application is not interested can come, and that can be harmful by our other applications. So even whatever the data we have received, we have to process our application process, and after that application will be response. So whatever response in data, we have to ensure the output encoding involved. We are so the encoding output data to the prevent it from the interrupted by the malicious code. So whatever the response our application is returning, we ensure that we have properly apply the encrypted encoding so that these data also cannot be make as a malicious for the other users. And also we have to ensure that whatever the kind of data we are transferring from the user to the customer, any kind of error happen in the while transferring data from one device to another device, we have to ensure that the data is not prevented or attacked or maybe by a hacker or unauthorized entity. So error handling involves the handling errors and exception in a way that prevent them from being used by the hackers. And good options whenever we talk about our applications, generally accessed by the authenticated and plus authorized user. Whatever the request come first, we have to authenticate it is the right person, it is the legal entity is the right, and once authentication done, then we have to ensure that they have a right permission to access the particular resources, particular file, whatever they requested. So we have to ensure that the authentication and authorization properly validated in the system for each and every request. Okay, so that our applications are only allow give permission to access for the authorized user only. And once while the development of applications, we have to ensure that we have to place the secure coding guidelines, coding practices. So we have to involve our best practices related to the security. While writing code, secure code, we have to ensure that we have to apply the standard coding guidelines and code review checklist. Okay, so we have a couple of standards available for the application available security. Kind of your applications, web application, kind of domain for which domains you are writing the uh, code or implementing our systems. According to the industries, we have to apply the specific secure coding standards and review checklist. And these are the some common threats as we discussed, like SQL injection. This is a very common injection. Someone many times we ensure that any kind of SQL injection cannot happen in system, because SQL injection happen means whatever the users are find some filter, some query, and some user input we have received from the networks, and after that we are going to apply on the database level query, and the same user request, whatever the user request have, what kind of filter, what kind of where clause they want, I am applying on my SQL query directly, and that might be passed because this the user are unethical person, unauthorized person. They want, I want to access the system. That means I want to access all the data, or interrupt data, or delete data somehow. They know, okay, hey, this is a query might be executed by the database, and database will lots of different way to delete query, update query, get all query, make the conditions true. If our application directly apply the uh, users input on the directly where database level, there might be SQL injection we have. So we have to ensure that keep properly database level SQL injection mechanism already we have available. We apply the properly, validate the request, encode the request, use the prepare statement before executing the query. Each and every value we have to validate it is as per the standard value or not. Similarly, your cross-site scripting is also a problem where involving injecting the malicious code into the web. Any web request come on the header, on the HTML, on the request, they have attached some kind of a scripting language. That scripting language nowadays, scripting language is very powerful tools. They can harm if those scripts are run under the web or under the server. Anyhow, they can change the data, they can modify the data, they can stop my application, someone can going to access. So in this way, someone hacker can just stop, they run some Java scripting code on our HTML browser, our application can run them, and after that continuously blocking every user request, or maybe some common alert. There is no, we have not any option to access my application or do some input and output on that. Similarly, we have a cross-site request of forgery involving tracking a user and perform some unintended action on the web. Hey, something user want to do something, and some different action can be performed simultaneously by these hackers. So we have to ensure that, and it also ensure that kind of request buffering, buffer protocols, not if some data need to cache or hold or buffering. Each and every layer you have to apply some kind of security principles. Even the sometime you find your application can be DOS attack or man in middle attacks and someone session hijacking. These are the very common you can say threats application level. System of denial of services, that means our applications are capable to offering some services, that's good, that's the purpose. But if some DOS attack means ki some intelligent automated systems or some scriptings, hey, hackers are able to access your machine, and they are fire millions of requests by the server, and my server is maybe blocked, maybe very slow, maybe unable to respond because they cannot design such millions of requests to handle. So those maybe for designated person, for right person, might be your system is not available. So we have to ensure to aware that hey, DOS kind of attack, similarly man in middle kind of attacks means ki interrupts, intercepting and alerting the communication between the user and web. Hey, this is the user and this is the web application. Between that, someone can intercept your message or maybe modify them, change them while the communication happen. And these are the sometimes very common like session hijacking. You know, whenever we are talking any web application, first user authentication authorization by the web server, and web server generate one created one session id, and this session id further next communication happen, next communication next session happen. Every time our application is not asking hey, username password, username password, username password. Instead they generate one token for session token for them, and some hacker between come and attack your session, and after that instead of you, those hacker are going to talk to the application, maybe accessing data, modifying data, deleting data. Such kind of application level of security threats we have keep in mind, and we have to plan them. We have to ensure that such thing, DOS attack, middleman attacks, and session hijacking attack, it's not happen on my web applications or application level. So for that, we have you can say couple of security tools, practices available. We have to apply them so that some level of security breach we can avoid. Those are maybe just start like a web application firewall. So lots of software available where web application firewall available for us. Maybe if you talk about the AWS, clouds also offering some WAF, web application firewall. Just it is a tool, and this tool help us to protect web application from the attacker by filtering them, blocking them, those traffic, those users. Any request come, that's our firewall identify. Hey, this is the malicious traffic, not the valid traffic. Maybe we have to filter out. Maybe we have blocked them. So lots of these kind of a firewall do application level of firewall. And we have to also apply our security testings. Hey, whatever the static application security or maybe dynamic application security testing, we have to apply our whatever the code we are submitting in our main branch. We have to ensure that static applications security testing happen. These are the tools available as SAST tool is available to identify the vulnerability in a code or might be potential security issue can be in future. So these tools are help us to catch and report the bug. And we, our engineer team, is able to hey, this code is not more secure. Can be in future maybe someone hacker or someone can be make them vulnerable codes. So we have to ensure that we have to run this testing, static application security testing and dynamic application security on my applications. Even we can perform some more testing to ensure that to identify the vulnerability, like whatever the web application we simulate, we perform some penetration testing. Is that using some tool to help us to identify any kind of our applications vulnerable to someone can attack them, someone can block them, someone can hijack them. And good options to whatever the software we are delivering, we have to apply some level of code review tool. Nowadays in the market, lots of code review tool available. Let's try to use those code review tools. Code review tool also scan all our codes, find out a vulnerable code and report them. Hey, this code is might be potential security issue can be. And nowadays, we can use the help of AI, artificial intelligence. AI enable AI powered lots of code review tool available. Good example, you can go the GitHub Copilot is the very powerful tool to code review your code with the respect to the security parameter and other parameter as well as. So not just depend upon the manual code review. The manual code review must required. We have to review as a senior engineer or architect or systems senior member in applications. We have to review, but we have to also use these code review tools. Code review tools, at least whatever the code we're delivering, that at least not any kind of a potential security risk would be. So we have to plan to use this all the dynamic application security testing, static application security coding, and code review tools so that your application some level of you believe hey, someone cannot attack them, someone cannot hack them because we have already applied some level of testing, some level of tools. So let's talk some standards because everything's on the security we are not going to the build, but we have to follow some standard, follow some practices. Our applications, whatever we are building, it is on the top of that, right? So one of the if we are building any web applications, and these are the WASP top 10 Open Web Worldwide Application Security Project. They have mentioned of top 10s, and lots of possible standard where that is a very very critical for any web application. If you are delivering any web application, at least these are the worldwide web application security available, we have to read out them, we have to apply them, we have to ensure that our application at least meet this standard. So these are the very very common open worldwide application security project help us. Even if you are working on the payment industries, let's say we are working in the payment industries, so we have to apply that PCI DSS must be, means that means payment card industries data security standard must be implemented. If you are working under the maybe your health domain, at this your application are maintaining some health records, so those cases we have to follow some HIPAA is a standard, provide the setup security requirement for to handle the health related information. So we you can say as a system design engineer, we have to at least aware for this domain this kind of a standard available, for this domain this standard available, for this kind of application at least we have to compliance these standards. If at least we thinking, we are talking, we are implementing some level of reliability of the customer, hey customer is thinking, hey our system design engineer is considering all the standard regulation on the my industries as well as, so we have to just talk lots of standard practices framework, sometimes hey NIST cybersecurity framework, hey we have to, this is the standard available. We have, this is the kind of provider framework for managing and reducing the cybersecurity risk. If whatever the cybersecurity risk have, we have already well-defined framework available, NIST. Let's implement, let's follow this standard while our designing systems. Similarly, lots of standard we have available like ISO 27001. These are the standard for the security requirement for implementing any information management system. Hey, whatever the information IMS we have to also ensure that. Similarly, SOC2 is standard provide the setup security requirement where you want to demonstrate some effective their security controls things. So you can say as system engineer, our responsibility, we have to detail out the our application level of security standards and practices and tools which we have. So let's talk about the AWS. AWS already have a different level of application firewall security available. We have to just use them. So if any users or application try to access request and response happen from the internet, so whatever from internet they are going to the our AWS cloud. The AWS cloud have a some level of your first layer of security edge network layer enforcements. They have a your edge networks application, web application firewall available. Let's just apply them this. This is ensuring some level of, and let's this, and after that now we go to the particular regions, and particular region have your BPC. So in BPC also we have a public layer of enforcement. Hey, let's apply the some application layer for firewall, and after that hey we have a some maybe third party level of enforcement, we can apply third party your web application firewall instances, one two three many instances we can apply. And after that we are maybe whatever the private layer your enforcement you can apply, hey this is my private layer web application firewall, and lots of rules and regulation you apply, everything pass, then you can say hey my application are accessible. So you can say AWS or any cloud provider, different layer, whatever the applications have, any request come on your application, they have go on the filters of your security scan, and every scan pass, that means you are somehow authentication authorize the right person to access my data. And similarly once we are responding data, we have to ensure that whatever the data we have, data must be encrypted and properly response to the designated users. So lots of you can say tools, practices, standards available. We as a system design engineer, our responsibility is that whatever the applications we are building and we are committing to the customer, and customer can be rely on the security point of view. If we are talk, hey, network level of security and even the application level of security, and we have to ensure that, see, we for application level of security we have to apply the application level of firewall, and after that we have to apply lots of or secure coding guideline practices, secure coding guideline testings, dynamic testing, static testing, penetration testings, all kind of security level of testing you are implemented. And after that we have to follow the web application security worldwide. Open worldwide standard project already share the some top 10 critical web application security parameter. We have to implement them, and apart from that we have lots of security frameworks available. We have to implement those security framework as well as. So if we are talking them, we have to considering everything in our designs, so that whatever the system going to implement or build, our every engineer, DevOps engineer, application engineer must aware, hey, whatever the application we are building, that must be compliance under the security guidelines, security code, secure coding practices. So these are the some key, you can say, pointer that's just help you to think whatever the system you're designing, that must meet the application layer security practices, best guidelines, and whatever the technology available to ensure that our applications level of security we cannot violate. And whatever the application we are building, we have to ensure that our application is highly follow the secure coding guidelines, practices, and patterns. Thank you.